This time, he declares, we'll have none of that weird religious stuff from the monk, because it's not a religious class anyway. Hello friends, and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily cringe content anywhere on the internet. Promise, swearsies, it's just a fact, and it's totally science. Go ahead and look it up. Thank you so much. Today we're jumping back into r/RPG because I saw a title with such a premise that it could only be extremely hilarious or extremely creepy, and we like both of those things on this channel, so we are going to check that out today. I hope you'll check me out over on TikTok and Twitch. I did stream this one on Twitch. Hooray! We're back in the game! We've also got some additional plugs and disclaimers for you to check out before we get into it, but we will get into some of this r/RPG horror stories cringe. Think I'm playing with a group of adults, end up in a kid's game. I could go either way on this one depending how you describe it, okay? Just let's be very careful here. User Karate Hillcrest. I do kind of like that name though. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. How about that? One of the older guys, mid-40s, I know, approached me to tell me that he was setting up a game of D&D and asked me if I wanted to play. See, okay, the mid-40s guy, he's definitely the creep, right? He didn't decide to disclose any of this. I was pretty excited because I foolishly assumed that this must be a group of seasoned pros who grew up playing in the 80s. Nobody actually grew up playing in the 80s, and if they did, well, they don't get credit because everybody lies about it anyways. Even as a guy in my mid-20s, this felt like I was being asked to the adults table for the first time, and I couldn't wait. Honestly, your mid-20s is like this really weird transitionary period in every person's life. So I can't identify with that feeling. Going to the adults table now might not be as much fun as the kids table, but society said I couldn't stay there forever. And then we get a bit deeper into this story and you realize that like there's really like a little kids table. Anyways, game day rolls around and I show up at this guy's house. And he answers the door and he tells me, go on straight through. The kids are out back. And I'm thinking, the who? Oh no. Is there a bouncy house? Did you get a clown and a magician? Turns out when he said he was setting up a game of D&D, he was doing it for his 10-year-old son. Oh, so he just wants you to come assist and see how it goes with the kids. Okay, as long as it's his kid, it's not creepy. I take it all back. Now we can just laugh, thank God. He was never intending on playing at all. At the table were his 10-year-old son, his 12-year-old friend, and their two 14-year-old brothers. I guess the kids really are into D&D nowadays. You couldn't really imagine this back in the 90s. And then there was me, a 25-year-old trying his best to swallow hot shame at being grouped in with a bunch of children. No, don't be insulted, man. He wanted you to lead these kids into battle, teach them how a player character is supposed to be played. I think it's an honor, if anything, but I'm sure the kids have got a lot to learn. You know, they learned all that they know about D&D from Stranger Things and Critical Role. So the DM was sort of an unusual but polite guy. Maybe in his early 20s, but I wasn't sure. Didn't you say at the very beginning of the story that he was in his mid-40s? How old would he have to be to have a 10-year-old son and be in his early 20s? Maybe it's a typo. I don't know what to think about this. He was one of those nerdy dudes who was socially awkward, but spoke a million miles a minute. This is the DM we're talking about, right? What happened to the 40-year-old guy? Is there another player? Old man guy? My brain is bubbling. I hope it's just a simple typo. I hope it'll all get spelled out in a minute. I resolved to try my best at having fun, despite the embarrassment. That embarrassment is all in your own head, dude. You need to get rid of that right now. And I took a seat with the rest of the party. The DM had created character sheets for all of us and instructed us to pick one at random. I thought that was pretty fun, and I ended up getting a human monk. I'm pretty cool with that, actually. I do have heavy faith in RN Jesus to hand me the tools to complete my quest or whatever. I saw on my sheet that I'd been assigned the true neutral alignment, so I decided to play as a monk devoted to the goddess of fate, allowing only the ever-present current of destiny to guide my life. Beautiful. I love this character already. Are you not having fun with this, OP? Try to ignore the fact that they're a bunch of kids, all right? They're gonna look up to you. You can teach them how alignment works and things. This is your chance to give them a good roleplay experience, or else they'll probably go watch football or something, you know? Win them to the nerd side, please. Anyways, I told the table I carried a coin with me, and it was my religious duty to leave hard moral choices completely to chance. Everything at the flip of a coin. It's an interesting character concept. It feels a little bit like a cop-out to me because you're not actually making your decisions. But yeah, okay, I guess it is truly neutral. I'll allow it. The DM stopped me, however. Actually, monks aren't a religious class, so you should really be following a god. I don't think that's true, friend. I figured he must have thought that I was getting confused, interpreting the monk as if it were something akin to the cleric. So I explained that I understood how the class worked, but I was just role-playing. Oh man, it could have been a good D&D experience. You know, I had high hopes this whole time. And it all falls apart right here and now. He looked at me sort of skeptically, but eventually told me that he would allow it this time, which had me kind of concerned. This is absolutely ridiculous already. It's time to pull out the handbook. Show him how the class works. Read it aloud for everybody. How can monk not be a I'm sorry, I'm ranting. But really, how can monk not be a religious class? On top of that, isn't everything religious, sort of, in D&D? You know what happens to atheists in D&D? They go to the soul wall. You don't want to go to the soul wall. I don't know. I don't know what's happening here. But, okay, only first strike. I guess we'll just let this one roll off our back. I want to say get up and walk away, but it's a bit too early. When it was time to play, we realized that we only had one set of dice for the entire table. Which is completely fine. Not everyone's flush with cash. Yeah, I guess, especially not like a 10-year-old kid. I had brought my own set of dice and a couple of extras from home, so I emptied them out onto the table and said we could easily just share them around. Mind you, this was barely 1.5 sets, plenty to play a game, but not nearly as many as some people have. Despite this, I got immediate judgment. Are people really out here flexing their math rock collections? Please don't do that. The parents were off to the side, within viewing distance of the table, which felt uncomfortable. But as soon as I produced my dice, I was hit with a, wow, I knew you were into this game, but not that into it. Hot shame. Then you turn around and shame them right back. Be like, yeah, shame on me to teach your children the value of sharing, since apparently none of you have bothered. Shame on me for participating in a thing that your kids are clearly interested in, but you don't have the time or the energy to do it yourself. So you just call in this 20 to 40-year-old weirdo to DM a game for the children. How about you sit there, shut up, be grateful that your kids are occupied. Go back to play Candy Crush or whatever. I'll defend your dice, OP. I get it. Not only was I being treated as one of the kids, but now I was an adult who was way too interested in this supposed children's game, and I was being judged for what was a barely noteworthy amount of dice. See, I don't think they understand that the dice are like all different shapes for a reason. They're dum-dums, they're normies, you don't really need to impress them, OP, alright? Don't feel bad. D&D is not a children's game, okay? It can be. It can also be as deep as you want to make it. So all of this being treated as one of the kids type of stuff, I think it's mostly in your head. Maybe there is a jerk parent that you got to tell off, but at the end of the day, you like what you like. Don't let anybody else dictate your life. When the game began, things started to get even worse. It was a classic setup. We were bodyguards protecting a cart from traversing a dangerous part of the world. And I was ready for some good, clean, adventuring fun. Slaying goblins and taking names. Unfortunately, that came to an immediate, screeching halt. The 12-year-old, who was playing a paladin, by the way, says, "I want to kill the cart driver." Oh, God. I've played with murder hobos before, but nobody anywhere near that brazen. This was literally minutes into the game. Yeah, I think he just doesn't really understand how it's supposed to work. Or maybe, you know, he's a 12-year-old boy. Those hormones get pumping and he's just like, I need to kill a thing. Who hasn't been there before? Come on now. But yeah, maybe kick him back and explain it for a little bit. Be like, is that really the best idea? Think about the future consequences that this action might have roleplay-wise. I'm all for a good murder hobo game, but that's far too murder hobo-y. Thank you. I tried my best to level with this kid. Good. I told him he could do anything in this game, but if he played like that, then it would ruin the experience for everyone else. Plus, it doesn't make that much sense if he was hired to protect the cart to suddenly kill the cart driver for no reason at all. He ignores that statement and rolls to attack. Well, I guess you just have to teach him the hard way. Watch him get leveled by the rest of the caravan guard. Which includes me, honestly. So we get some PvP combat right off the bat. Alright. You have it your way. Okay, OP thinks. My character was also hired to protect this cart, and the paladin serves a clear and present danger to the cart driver, so I'm gonna need to restrain him. No, don't restrain him. He's let his allegiance be known, and it's not on your side. Shoot to kill. So instantly, we have PvP at the very beginning of the session. I love that, honestly. PvP is one of my favorite parts of games like this, but you do have to kind of like know what you're getting into. What's even worse is that one of the 14-year-old guys was going through his edgy teen phase, and he declares, "Yeah, I want to kill the cart driver and start chewing on his corpse." Bro, that's totally metal, dude. I'm partying even. Whoa. Okay, so now I'm fighting two player characters at the same time. May RNGesus be with you. You must stand up for what you believe is right. Honestly, maybe at this point the DM should step in and be like, well, the paladin's acting against good, so he loses all the powers that he has for this combat or something until he repents. Whatever. Honestly, I hope OP mollywallops both of them. Long story short, the goddess of fate must have been on my side because due to a few lucky rolls, I managed to down both of them. Hell yeah, finish them! The DM allowed coup de grace rules, so I could have killed both of them right there. You did, right? You definitely did? You had mercy because they're children. Bah! How else are they gonna learn, OP? The 12-year-old asks what I'm gonna do. So I tell him, we'll let fate decide. Oh yeah, become an agent of chaos. And I pulled a coin out from my wallet. Each of them would have a 50-50 chance to survive, and both of them lost. Oh, you'll love to see it. I told you, dude, if your luck stat is high enough, everything lines up. It all turns out like it's supposed to turn out. I honestly love that. Good. RN Jesus, he always looking out. You think he's not, but he is. The game was like completely derailed at this point. So the DM wipes the slate clean and starts our characters alive and at full health at the first combat encounter. At least the first non-PvP combat encounter. This time, he declares, we'll have none of that weird religious stuff from the monk, because it's not a religious class anyway. I don't understand why the DM is so stuck on that. Monk? I mean, maybe it's not religious, but it's like meditative religious. It's spiritual at the very least. Can we agree on that? Honestly, probably not an argument worth having. Just go, okay, whatever. For the next 3.5 hours, we proceed to have the slowest, most excruciating combat I've ever experienced against a group of goblins. No role play, no description, just the goblin hits, you miss, you hit for 3.5 hours. It sounds like the DM doesn't really know what he's doing either. I don't know, at a certain point you need to stand up, tell the DM what you expect out of a game, how to run it properly, and hope that their ego can take the hit, you know? Maybe it'll spark a little bit of self-reflection within them, and if not, then good. It's not a game that you want to play in anyways, right? So finally, we make it through the horde of goblins into a mysterious trap door in the middle of the woods. Ooh, fairies! Okay, so I've made it through the shaming from the adults, the murder hoboing from these kids, the weird treaties against role-playing from the DM, and finally, we get to uncover a mystery, or find a strange ancient artifact, or meet some NPCs, but no. End of session. Nothing. He didn't have it planned out. He didn't have the hook. The trapdoor itself was supposed to be the hook, not what's behind it or anything like that. That is the most disappointing thing ever. Bad DM. Bad DM. I understand he's trying to run it for his kids. Maybe he's never played it before. Maybe OP really should have stepped up and set this whole game straight, but I guess we'll never know. And we will never find out what was behind that trapdoor because this entire session was a one-shot. What? Did you know that going in? I would have raged against the trapdoor if that was the case. You have to tell me! I invested 4 hours in this! Oh, that must drive you up a wall. Even though I know nothing was behind it, my brain is still unsatisfied by this incomplete story. Just make something up, bro. You found a bunch of weapons that you'll never be able to use. A hoard of gold coins. Your character's rich and lives a lavish life forever. You know, anything. A pile of bear turds was under the trap door. At least I know now. I'd still be disappointed, but this is like infinitely more disappointing, isn't it? I hate the unknown. So I walked out, still receiving a few comments from the adults about how weird it was that I was so into the game. Yeah, you keep up those appearances, normie. I could never be seen pretending like that. I live firmly in reality. Yeah, maybe that's your whole problem, honestly. Your imagination's just dead, which to me means your soul is dead. Why you gotta be like this? Anyways, I received an invite to come back the following week, but I did my best to politely decline. Oh, come on, OP! Don't you want to see what's behind the trap door? And then fight goblins for another 4 hours going, you hit, you miss? I think I'm good. I know this story isn't nearly as nasty as some of the other things I've seen on here, but I still feel pretty embarrassed to this day. There was something so humiliating about being treated like a 12-year-old just because you like this hobby. Edit. Accidentally wrote role-playing as role-playing, R-O-L-L, the whole way through, And I fixed that. Role-playing? Yeah, that's what I do at Thanksgiving. Roll that dinner roll down the table. And my mom's like, quit role-playing. And I'm like, silence, wench! It's multifaceted. I'm not gonna bust OP's chops too much about the spelling, alright? I am gonna bust your chops a little bit for kind of just letting you get thrown around by the waves of other people's opinion, you know? In this life, you need to be a rock. If you're into D&D role-playing, like, just own it, you know? Who cares what anybody else says about it? Those parents are too cool? Well, guess what? I bet their entire life is just boring. Everybody in gray clothing on the omnibus eating gray sludge. That's the world that they want, and that's not the world that I want to live in. So keep doing you, OP. You know, maybe become like a bit more of yourself even. Try and pull other people in and be like, this really is a cool thing that we're doing. And I don't think that you guys are taking full advantage of that. Here's how you can do that in the future if you really want to have a good time playing D&D, because a lot of this stuff doesn't set a very good example. I've seen people get into D&D from Stranger Things. They never played D&D in Stranger Things. Not really. They talked about some D&D stuff, but like they didn't get into the nitty gritty and, you know, how combat can be role played out and how you can actually interact with the NPCs and whatnot. It seems like your experience was just massively misplaced here. Maybe that DM called in on you because he's noticed that you have the experience and you could maybe whip everything into shape, but also it's kind of not my circus, not my monkeys. You decided to get out of there, which I can't blame you for, but I do wish that there would have been like a bit more correction. Like, I understand that you guys are new. If you want some tips, I'm here to assist. Like, that is what I think the DM was expecting of you. But instead, yeah, you just kind of got mocked by the parents, and that led to you getting in your own head, which is a thing that happens. I can't blame you for that, you know? I've got some social anxiety as well, unless I see the entire thing as a performance. It's really r/am I the main character behavior, but if I see it as a performance, I can put my head down, I can get through basically anything. I'm like, this is how it is, and the performance doesn't always go well, but that's the way that I have to frame it in my own mind to kind of shuffle off the cloak of like what other people think I should be or do. It's not easy, it takes practice, but I'm sure you're capable of it. Maybe you would make a different choice in the future. Maybe it takes reaching your 30s to get to that point, but I hope that you will. I hope that these kids did not lose all hope for D&D. They're probably like, yeah, it's super lame. Because nobody really explained what it's supposed to be to them, so I can't really fault them either. It is a hilarious mix-up, a sitcom happening. I showed up to the D&D game and it's a bunch of kids. But I don't know. I really think that it could have gone a different way if you just tried to, you know, take the lead of the pack for a little bit. Anyways, bit of a shorter episode, but I do hope that you guys still enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, do all them things. Follow me on everything. Do it. I'd also like to thank all of my supporters right now, very much, so thank you too. Selwing, Samantha, A. Wells, Organic Steve, Vladimir Dragonov, A Tiny Boy, Ameltia Hannon, Sean Cantwell, John Endor, Strain Boy, That One Gay Cop, Valley-Eyed Crane, She's Angel Dark, Bedazzled Misery, Skylar Rain, The Fez Wearer, Rosie Rainbow, Heaven Sent, Robert Thibodeau, Jackie McQuitty, Grimstribe, AJ Collins, Tooth Plushy, Corey Arts, Florentic Waver, Dungeon Bat, Billy D, Robert Waits, Brandon Ashcraft, Phantom Danica, Skylar Morningstar, The Gypsy Barber, Fire Drake, Death's Flagship, and buy two, get one hand. Over on the Patreon side, Ms. Black, Gorius Maximus, Harley Owen, Robert Waits, Camille Sarah, Mr. Pepperfall, Wagon Pace is my father. ReddX, Evil 9, The Cringening, the one where you get chased around by the Poopy Cool Man. Yeah, that's my favorite one. Vixie, Fluxer, Jerry, Captain Cloud, Jerry, Hong Kong, Ellipses, Esteban, Orgami, Steve Bean, Tom, the Bag of Mouse from downtown, Santa, Jerry, Silent Revolver, Zartarus, 28, Jerry, that's the original Jerry for those who don't know, Zarfar Barkar. What's that supposed to mean? Destiny Piper, Jerry Kitsune, Air Frankenberry, ain't that a hot bitch though? Assassin Punk, Jerry, Bang Bang, Baby Jerry, Benchy in the Jets, Billy D, Bitch Gremlin, Blade the Hero, Chance for Blue Kraken, Commander J Tank, Dirty Little Jerry, Dr. Larks, Dial, Aaron Era, Erratic Mechanic, Eastparks, Frozen Over Studio, Fire Drake, Gizmo Jack, Hey Dream BR, Irish Pirate, just lost the blue marble in a mutiny. Sad when that happens, isn't it? Iron Hollow, JM Coon, Jeremy Smith, Jerry Blacktail, Jukebox Jerry, stars in his eyes, Kelly Kraken, Lady Italian, Greyhound Dino, Lady in Awakening, Lauren Crow, Legitimate Girth, Lord Jerry, O leader of the Thunder Jerrys, Luke Events was a race car driver, he was a good friend of mine, never did win that check of flag, but I helped him drink his wine, I know how it goes now. Like and subscribe! Lady Dix, Mad Monk, Melgar the Destroyer, Metal Factor, Mint Chip. Oh, you're back. Needless King 89, Phantom of Pies, Jerry Kins and Jerry Beth, Queens, Quaaludes and Quagmire, Sarita the Lolita, Scarlet's Kevin, Sergeant Gay Cop, Ringer of the Law, Silo Imp, Stephanie Gunner, Storm, Jerry, welcome, Synaptic Boomstick, Brilliant Tomago, the Gypsy Barber, the Lilith Who, Lord Jufusky, this isn't even my final beard. Trying to play the mob to get back to the real world. Vanguard Angel, VC3, Viking Jerry, Vladimir Dragonoff, Wiki Tag, Zephyr Gargoyle, or Clay, Commandant Mooney, Kira, not another Jerry, but he is though. Cage Alex 9, Redwind, Bad Penny Lane, Carcass, not my third stuff, Venom Jerry, One Leg Jerry, has returned from battle. Normal Jerry, alright, Red Blackers, Red Hell, Beards, hijack my internet, the Mambo Doritos Daily, send the Soap Squad. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do what we can, but we don't negotiate with terrorists. Amber Alder, another stupid hipster, Atomic Jerry, Zelda Breaker of the Tom Army, Bartender Kalia, Big Dad Wolf, Broken Spine Horseradish, Cake Jerry, the original different Jerry, California Jerry Girl, Chicago Panda, Corey, commission now, whoa, Crip Titties, Devon Jerry, Def Tuna, Deku, Dilf Jerry, Dwarfy Dude, Fedorable Jerry, just tip them a lady, ooh, get to it, the Doodles commission's open over there as well, Jerry, Boo's daughter, Ghost of Alpha Greymon 365, half Slavic Jerry in the tracksuit, he cannot, Hydra Jerry Solomon, Janitor Jerry's back from the abyss to clean up after teenage beards, Jeffrey, Gerald of Arivia, Jerry Bo with 2 S's and an E, Jerry Springer, the results are in, you are not the neckbeard, I mean kinda I am though, a little bit, Jerry the Sexy Baga, Jerry's mom's got it going on, Jerry Roxas, Jerry Role Playing Game, Kid Marvelous, Defender of the Innocent, Enemy to the Bearded, Kitzikin, Machia, CD, maybe next time, Mecha Suits, coming to sense of your cringe, my sense of the world, yeah, it's happening a little bit, it's fine, totally okay, Mr. Gasmask, Not Invisible Angel, Raptor, at Selden Dark, Snary, that's Snom, Jerry, Spoonie the Rogue, Spoopy Scary, Jerry Ton, Techno Dubs, they call me Jerry Two Dives, Jerry Pie, this is purely a mercantile transaction, to Infinite Jerry Head Beyond, Tokyo Bird, Unkale, Vaughn, Throw Sulier Mountain Dew, Grow by Neckbeard, Grow, it's Jerry Time, Hold ReddX Morpher, Hygiene, it's Jerry Time, Hold ReddX Morpher, Humility, and thank you to my $1 patrons as well. Bless up to all the Jerrys and not Jerrys alike doing the most out here to help me out. If you can support, that's huge. If you can't, don't sweat it too hard, friends. I just appreciate you coming on through, hanging out with me, and I hope that you'll come on back and hang out with me again tomorrow. In order to do so, you need to keep yourself safe out there. Please wash your hands. And also, take some time out and do something that you personally enjoy today. Maybe like, no, definitely, yes, watching some more ReddX videos. You do enjoy that, don't you? I assume so, because you listen this far. Always remember, friends, that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it. And I shall see you in the next one. So until then, friends, bye-bye.